mathematics. Breaking connections to the world. Empowering language on humanity. Let's bring the world of learning in one channel. Welcome to Business Combinations English TV.
Good day, everyone. I am Ma'am Maricel D. Quintos. You can call me Ma'am Maricel, your English teacher for today. Welcome to our class in English 10. I am very grateful that you are all present in today's class, and I hope that you are ready to learn more about our lesson for today. And I can feel that you are all excited. Before we start, let us have first our objective for today. This is your self-instructional module in English 10. All activities provided in this lesson will help you learn and understand literary approaches, structuralism, formalism. Especially, you will learn the following. 1. Define structuralism and formalist approach. 2nd, differentiate structuralism from formalist approach. And the last one, you're going to critique a literary selection based on the following approaches: structuralism, formalism. So let us have first our pre-test. We're going to identify the elements of the story described in the following items. 1. This is an element of the story that refers to the people or person who faces the conflict in the story. Next, this is an element of the story that refers to place and time the story happens. Next, this is an element of the story that narrates the sequence of the story. Fourth, this is an element of the story that refers to the central idea of the story. And the last one, this is the struggle of the protagonist that he needs to face. This gives the sense and highlight of the story. Let us have our recap. There are different elements of a story. These are the characters, setting, plot, conflict, and the moral lesson. These elements help to understand the content of the story. In this module, you will be critiquing a literary approach to understand the text. This lesson will be discussed to you by another English teacher.
I am Mrs. Mayra F. Arellano, but you can just call me Mamay. I am going to discuss the first lesson in quarter 3. But before we talk about the two literary approaches, let us first define what literary criticism is. Literary criticism is the evaluation, analysis, description, or interpretation of literary works. Now, there are two literary approaches that you may use if you want to assess a literary piece. The first one is formalism. The second one is structuralism. Let us first talk about formalism. Formalism is an approach that studies text as text. It views literature as a unique form of human knowledge that needs to be examined on its own terms. In formalism approach class, a literary work can be understood only by reference to its intrinsic features. What are these intrinsic features? These are the elements. These elements include characters, setting, plot, point of view, theme, and symbolism. I'm sure you're already familiar with it, for we had recap a while ago. Let us first talk about character. Character is a person or an animal who takes part in the action in the story. Now, characters may be classified into two. It may be static or dynamic. Let's have an example. Let's say, for example, these characters from fairy tales. The wicked stepmother of Snow White and Shrek. What do you think is the classification of the character, the wicked stepmother of Snow White? How about Shrek? You are correct. The wicked stepmother of Snow White is a static character because her character does not change over time. While Shrek, on the other hand, is a character whose personality changes over time. That's why Shrek is a dynamic character. Another element is the setting. Setting refers to the time and place when and where the story happened. The setting also includes weather condition and social condition as well. Let's take a look at the pictures here. Can you tell me when each picture was taken? Where do you think they were captured? Can you tell what is going on? In the first picture, it is taken during this pandemic. It was captured in a hospital. The second one is taken during the Spanish flu way back 1918. It was also taken in a hospital. Both pictures show a situation during a pandemic. These are perfect examples for setting. Another element we have is plot. Plot has something to do with the whole sequence of the story. It shows the beginning of the conflict, how the character faces that conflict, the effect of the character's action toward the conflict, or how the conflict is solved. That is the plot. Another is point of view. What is point of view? This is the angle of the story into which it is told. It could be from first person point of view, second person, or third person. It all depends on who speaks or tells the story. Second to the last, we have the theme. The theme is very important. Why? Because it tells you what the story is all about. Theme is the central idea of the story. That's why it's very important. Last but not the least is symbolism. Symbolism may be any person, object, situation, event, or action that has deeper meaning or interpretation. Let's say, for example, in a poem, if the author decides to use a dove in his or her composition, what do you think does the dove symbolize? You are correct. A dove may symbolize purity, devotion, faith, and in some cases, dove may symbolize love. Those are the elements of a story that are connected in the first approach, which is formalism. Now let's talk about the second literary approach. What is it? Structuralism. Structuralism is a method of interpreting and analyzing a literary piece that focuses on contrasting ideas and how they relate to the whole structure. This approach treats the text as linguistic construct. Class, in structuralism, a piece is open for interpretation. Let us remember that, okay? It depends on how the reader views the meaning of the text based on his or her understanding. It may involve your personal belief, the environment, behavior, or your own moral perception. Let's have an example so you can further understand what structuralism is all about. Let's say, for example, the nursery song Jack and Jill. Now for others, Jack and Jill may just be a simple children's song about the two characters who fetch water from a hill. But using structuralism approach, the song can be interpreted in many ways. And since it is a children's song, let's try to sing it. These few lines from the song. Are you ready? Okay, you may also sing with me. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. All right, so let us have the interpretation of these lines from the song Jack and Jill. The first interpretation is that we should be careful in all our actions, or else we can drag others down. The second interpretation, Jack's crown may symbolize authority. So we can apply this to governance, right? If the ruler fails, it affects the people. So that is structuralism. And to sum up our lesson, let's not forget that if you want to assess, evaluate literary pieces, you may use these two literary approaches. The first one is formalism. In formalism, remember that you have to use the elements of the story as reference for you to further understand it. And the second one, structuralism, it is open to different interpretations. So, I hope you did understand our lesson for today. And so, for the next part, there is another English teacher who will try to test or evaluate how much you have understood about this lesson. Thank you.
I am Ma'am Criselda Gomez, your English teacher. After listening to the discussion, let us check if you really understood the lesson. You will answer the guided practice on your screen. You will just need to identify what literary approach is used in the following statements. Number 1. Ivan Dimitrich has been involved in brawls when he was young. Number 2. During 1800s, merchants used to travel to distant places for trade. Number 3. The story tells about how God gives justice to the oppressed. Number 4. Justice is about harmony. Revenge is making oneself feel better, but for some people, they are just the same. And number 5. Ivan's 25 years of imprisonment is not wasted time of his life because his faith made him a better person even the worst place on earth. The next thing to do are the following activities. For the first activity, you will read and analyze the excerpt from the story, God Sees the Truth But Waits. Just answer the following questions and choose the letter of the best answer. The second activity is for you to critique the story by part. There are 5 questions on this part. And then for your last activity, activity number 3, you will read another story and critique the story and fill in the boxes with your ideas. And to wrap up the lesson, I want you to recall all the lessons of Module 1 and then complete the following statements by filling in the blanks with the appropriate ideas. Number 1, the 2 literary approaches are. Number 2, the formalism approach refers to. And number 3, the structuralism approaches refers to. And of course, let us not forget the verse from Hosea 12 verse 6. But you must return to God, maintain love and justice, and wait for God always. This verse from the Bible can relate to what the main character did in the story. Justice comes from the Lord, we just need to wait.